I gave honest feedback after a rocky VRBO stay, and the owner's response was wild. You decide who's in the wrong. And I'm not someone who nitpicks. I genuinely love great customer service. But what happened this past weekend? I genuinely don't know how to feel about it. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened and then tie it back to something that might be quietly messing up your health goals. If you've stayed at an Airbnb or VRBO, you've likely had an opinion about that stay. When we stay at these rentals, overall, we've had an excellent experience, with the exception of one catchy one. And I'm not sure how I feel about this past weekend. Again, you'll be the judge of that. Comment what you think below. Not only am I going to be sharing about my experience, but also how it ties to your health and wellness. It's something that I love to do as a health and wellness coach, take real world experiences and tie them into your health goals. So let me also tell you that my sister and I were going to visit our mom in Pennsylvania. My sister moved from Pennsylvania last year, and now we need a place to stay. Mom's house is big enough, but we just needed a little bit more room to spread out. And also, I need you to know, for background, I am not a hard to please type of person. That is not me. That is not my sister. That is not how we were raised. I do have high standards when it comes to my personal health and wellness. I'm a pro natural bodybuilder, and some of that is just part of the equation. Also, I'm not going to be outing the company or the owner. My goal is not to shred anyone here. So, in searching for a property close to our mom, we saw these really cute properties on VRBO. I was really excited to stay there. And before I dive in as well, what happened wasn't deal breaking. It wasn't monumental, but it was a bunch of little things. And we were considering having our family reunion this summer. The things that I'm about to share absolutely matter from that standpoint. At least they did to me, particularly for our older family members. I have a cousin who's 64, recently had a hip procedure. So it's with that in mind that we gave feedback on this property. Okay, so we got to Pennsylvania Friday night. It was snowing. It was 20-something degrees. We got to the rental around 9 p.m. And we know this road since we grew up in that area, but we could not find the entrance for the life of us. It was snowing and the snow covered everything. So very difficult to see. So the next morning, I'm going to fast forward. This is when I messaged the owner. Good morning, owner. Thank you very much for changing our reservation to this weekend after the horrible weather a few weeks ago. We greatly appreciated that. I have a lot to share, and I'll start with a request, please, so that it does not get lost in the paragraphs below. Is it possible to please have someone come and fix the bathroom sink drain today? My sister and I will be out of here around 10:30 a.m. through 6 p.m. With it being the only bathroom in the house, it would be nice to have a working sink. Sink was clogged. It is slow. We are only able to turn it on for a few seconds at a time before the water starts to accumulate. Bottom line, the decor is really cute. The place is very clean. We are clean freaks ourselves, and this is one of the most appreciated features. And while all of the little things are in place, and they even had themed soaps and lotions, there are some oversights on what we would consider the bigger things. And the things that really matter the most, safety and comfort factors primarily. Next, I owe it to you to share with you a few challenges we had when getting into the property last night. First, our mother lives very close. It's nice to have this very convenient location when we visit her, and we are familiar with this road. That said, finding the entrance, even with GPS, was quite challenging. The road is dark, it's tough to see, and it's not well marked. It would be helpful in your literature if you could offer some landmarks coming from both ways so that people know where to turn. Next, We really struggled with parking. The property here is very dark, and even when you enter the property, there's a glare on the sign because it's a glossy sign. The arrow is not easy to see. And for reference, it was this really tiny line with a little teeny arrow on the end. So I continued. We are healthy people in our 50s, so these are not things we should struggle with, in our opinion. LOL. The parking spaces were pretty confusing as well, as there is a big divot in the space that's between unit number 1 and 2, not far from my car. When I got out of the car, my boots sunk into the ground halfway up. Ugh. This is probably one of our biggest concerns. Knowing this weather in this area, we're in northwestern Pennsylvania, and how damp it always is, I'm a little surprised that it's not more navigable. It was very wet, and even my tires, small Acura, not an Amazon van, sunk a little. I don't see us coming back in the spring, which I would love to do, but knowing how wet it is back here, it makes carrying in bags quite a challenge. Hopefully you all will be able to pave it someday, or at least the parking spaces, and offer better lighting. I tried to picture seniors coming here, and it's just not something I could recommend to my mom's friends and family, given those circumstances. Maybe in July, we'll see. When we finally figured out the lock, again, not being familiar with this particular keypad, I did not realize you had to press a certain button on the Yale touchpad rather than the touchpad itself. No fun in winter temperatures. Anyway, when we got inside, we could see some signs that no one has been in here for a little while. Dead ladybugs in the rooms. The worst part of that was the fact that there was no heat on in the entire house. Now, these homes are elevated, by the way, so you can imagine the airflow underneath, and it was, again, in the 20s. We respect your request to not wear shoes in the house, but it took hours for the floors to heat up. So we are stuck in our socks on very cold floors. I'm trying to paint the picture of how we try to decide between hotels and this type of place, and this is part of it. It would have been nice if someone had been here to turn on the lights in advance and turn the heat on, especially this time of year. Although it took hours for the place to heat, we woke up to warm floors. Thank you. You may or may not know that some of the spindles on the deck are missing. We don't have small children here, though please fix them before you do. I'm guessing, I don't know, was it a 12-foot drop? Something like that. So, missing spindles. It would have been nice to have a trash receptacle at the back of the property. All I can picture is our shoes sinking into the ground as we're hauling trash up the road when we check out. I hesitate to post a review due to all of these factors, but again, I wanted to run this information by you first. I realize this probably isn't your busiest time of year, but these are some critical safety issues and things that would make a real difference for your guests. We will be visiting our mom multiple times per year, and the decision is always where to stay. Thanks for listening, Jody. P.S. The back sliding door does not lock. And so I heard nothing for 24 hours. Again, this isn't worst case scenario. We had a roof over our heads. Nothing was awful. It just all added up, right? It would be nice to walk into a house with a little heat and be able to see. So I looked this up on ChatGPT because I've never been in this situation. And ChatGPT said, well, if the owner hasn't responded in 12 to 24 hours, message the owner again. And if there's no answer, send a message to VRBO directly within an hour, and then you should get a pretty immediate response. So that's exactly what I did. I waited about 24 hours. I messaged the owner again. I said in my second message, "Good morning, owner. It's been about 24 hours since I messaged you, and I hadn't heard back. Any chance we could get the sink unclogged today? We will probably be out by about 9:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. Thanks. Also, internet, TV isn't working well. We got 20 minutes of TV at best." Again, it was clear this is not the busiest time of year in a snowy climate. My intention was for one thing to be fixed, not everything, folks, just the sink. I really also just wanted them to be aware of what's happening in the wintertime. they're probably not aware of these challenges. And then the owner did respond, and it wasn't what I expected at all. So here we go. Jody, unfortunately, it took me 24 hours between trying to spend some quality time with my family to get through the novel that you sent. And I acknowledge that. Did you enjoy picking apart every single detail of the small business that our families have worked so hard for? In 4 years of hosting thousands of guests that have given 5-star reviews, I don't think thousands, maybe hundreds, but okay, thousands, being named a top 10 blank in the country by MGM, and being a super host for all 4 of those years, we have never received messages so critical of what we have poured our blood, sweat, and tears into. I'm sure the short-term rentals you host are perfect in every way. If you could send us a link to yours, we would love to check them out to get some fresh new ideas. I feel that since the unit is not up to your standards, it would be best for you to find somewhere else for you to stay this evening, and we will refund you for your stay. We are not the Four Seasons, and we cater to guests looking for a peaceful outdoor setting at a fraction of the price of a fancy hotel. We wish you the best and hope you are able to find somewhere to stay that meets your expectations. Sincerely, owner. I basically don't know what to say. I really was trying to share safety, functionality issues. He ignored the request. He clearly didn't like what I had to say. And I really was just trying to do him a solid. I mean, if I owned the place, and by the way, I am not a VRBO owner. I have been a landlord, and no thank you. I don't care to repeat that for multiple reasons. But I think I'm a pretty darn good guest. We're very clean, and I just wanted to bring these items to his attention. I didn't even ask him to fix the back door that didn't lock, right? I don't think that anyone has been here at this time of day, in the wintertime. He should know that those are kind of the circumstances when people are checking in. It's dark. There's not great lighting. He should know. So again, we were considering this for a family reunion. And I have no doubt that this place is great in the summertime and when it's not wet. Like I said, it has some nice features inside, but I think about possibly having our family reunion and my 60-plus family members arriving in the same conditions. So, what does this have to do with your health and wellness? I figured this experience would be best served as a health and wellness video and topic. So first of all, he's too close to the topic to be objective. And isn't that true? We're more self-critical than an objective third party would be. I've seen this in my career, blood, sweat, and tears. I actually had this happen with a colleague as a health coach for another company. So the company had purchased this other health coach's proprietary program. We were delivering it, and the coach became upset with me because there was a part of this program that I really wanted to change. And it was a great program. It was awesome. But I said, you know what? We are not licensed to prescribe supplements. We're not licensed to prescribe amounts, dosages. That's really for their healthcare providers to do. And I get it. This coach said, well, but I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this program. And I totally understood that. But this coach had a very emotional tie to the program. So it's hard to see objectively when we're emotional. We can't be logical when we're being emotional. And it was very clear from this VRBO owner's response, he was responding from a place of emotion and not logic. Logically, yes, a place should be well lit, my opinion. The exterior doors should lock, my opinion. There should be heat, especially in 25 degrees, my opinion. But still, again, logic versus emotion. So in your own health and wellness journey, has there been a time where you've been emotional and it's just prevented you from thinking logically? So these are the times in our lives where we need to hire a pro. That's first and foremost. Second tie between this VRBO situation and your health and wellness relates to focusing on the little things instead of the big things. The property was super cute. They had lotions, soaps, They were all branded with their logos. But to me, that's not as meaningful as being able to lock the back door and have heat in northwestern Pennsylvania. It took that house probably 4 or 5 hours to heat up. In your health and wellness journey, it can be at the expense of some very big things. So we can tend to focus on the tiny things, but that takes the focus off the big picture. So if you're doing things like weighing daily, searching for specific recipes, choosing to act according to this is an activity that gives me calorie burn versus looking to have control with your nutrition, and even cutting out entire food groups. I mean, unless you have a sensitivity or an allergy, that won't have the same big impact as some other lifestyle behaviors. So again, it was a cute place, but that cuteness got lost in some of the bigger things. Okay. Third connection was when the owner said, but we won awards. And yeah, maybe they've been open for a few years, maybe hundreds of guests. I don't think thousands. So I acknowledge, great, he's won awards. But this is also just like our bodies. I mean, I can say I placed, XYZ at a show. I won all these awards. I won a number of pro cards at my bodybuilding shows over the last 10 years. But when I wake up today, does my body really remember that? Does my body really remember being a certain size at a certain point? No. When I wake up every day, my body, your body, is saying, where is my protein? Where is my supplements? Where is my water? Where is my activity? Your body doesn't remember the awards. So if you've won before though, I love that because it tells me you can do it again. And that's where I get excited as a health coach. If you've done it before, it provides evidence that yes, I can get to this place again. And then it also allows you to be better for others around you, but especially you. So the owner didn't really see that. He was so focused on the awards rather than, okay, what does the present situation say? And then finally, this is where I want to tie it all together. Your health and wellness journey. If you look back, even just look back to the last couple weeks, what kind of customer service have you been giving to yourself? Give me a few adjectives to describe that. Ultimately, what kind of customer service do you want to be giving yourself? And to me, that is the ultimate question. So if you like the format, tying things that happen in the world to your health and wellness journey, don't forget to tap that subscribe bell. And so thanks for joining on my VR boatload of feedback. Appreciate you. Come on back next week. Would love to have you.